This is Chad Nesbitt with WNC Parking Lot Services. You are looking at the entry point of the culvert that goes underneath Overlook Village, down Tunnel Road, and ends up right beside the Lowe's parking lot at the bottom of Tunnel Road. The boulders you see on each side of this entranceway are the boulders we pulled out of the culvert 2 years ago, and we placed them on the bank so that to keep the ground from eroding on each side of this culvert. It has worked, and everything looks to be in great shape, except for the graffiti that you see. But otherwise, we're real happy with the way that the outside of this culvert looks. There is, again, no eroding. We did find one big boulder in the bottom of this culvert that will need to be pulled out, but nothing like it was 2 years ago. What you are looking at is where the culvert itself is attached to the head wall. The head wall is the concrete portion of the entranceway to the culvert. We found no deterioration of the head wall at all. As a matter of fact, it looked great. Everything seamed up nice, and it seamed up properly. We are now 50 feet in the culvert. There's the marker there for it, and to the right of this marker you will see a brown discoloration on the side of the culvert. What that is groundwater that has just found its way through the side of this culvert and it come out through the seam of it, and it's a simple repair that needs to be done. We just need to tighten up those bolts and place some tar over that seam and the bolts, and that will stop any groundwater from finding its way through this seam. That black patch you see right there is an area that we repaired for you 2 years ago, and it still is holding. At the 425-foot marker, we found about a 12 by 12 tarp that had caught itself on one of the bolts that hold the culvert together. We went ahead and removed it and just carried it out with us once we got to the other side, so it is no longer in the culvert. At the 575-foot marker inside the culvert, we found a second tarp that had snagged itself on one of the bolts that hold the culvert together, and we removed it while we were in there as well, and took it out the other end of the culvert. We are now at the end of the culvert, directly under Tunnel Road and just before you get to the Lowe's shopping center. We are inspecting the culvert where it is connected to the head wall. This is where we made a repair to the head wall 2 years ago, and our repair still looks great. We saw no deterioration from the head wall connection to the culvert. The head wall is connected to 3 chambers that allow water to flow into the Shenandoah River, but unfortunately 2 of the chambers are stopped up. Two of the 3 chambers that allow water to flow freely into the Shenandoah River are completely stopped up. Only 1 chamber is allowing water to flow freely, but it too is beginning to back up with sediment itself. The reason the rocks and the sediment are backing up into these chambers is because of the mouth of the creek that the water flows into. This creek goes into the Shenandoah River but is not wide enough to handle the velocity of water that comes through this culvert. And all that needs to be done is to open up these 3 chambers completely and shore back the sides of the small creek so that the water can take its way on down to the Shenandoah River. Culvert is in very good shape. Both head walls look great. At the 50-foot marker, a minor repair will need to be made to the seam of the culvert. Water is running through only 1 of the 3 chambers that allow water to flow freely at the end of the culvert under Tunnel Road. We believe this to be on North Carolina State DOT property and should be cleaned out with a skid steer or small bulldozer. If blockage of the 3-chamber system is not fixed, rocks and sediment will back up into the culvert, cause flooding upstream, and will damage the structural integrity of the culvert.